What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It is Combine Week, and there's been Washington Commanders news to speak about. I am back from my hiatus. Let's get it in. What it do and what's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday, February 26th, and the NFL Scouting Combine is underway. We heard from General Manager Adam Peters yesterday. We heard a little bit from Dan Quinn today at the podium. Jonathan Allen news yesterday, and the NFL Players Association report card has went out, and my oh my, has Washington improved drastically in just 1 year of this startup program. But before we get into it, this stream and all streams this year are brought to you empowered by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, home of the fastest payouts in the industry. Match bonus of 150% on your first deposit using promo code YouTube150. Please bet responsibly. How we doing out there today, y'all? How we doing? I had to fuck off and mentally reset for a couple weeks. You know, if you have the ability to, sometimes you just need to disappear. You know, you need to get off, stay away from social media. You need to just get your mind right and get away from everything in life. I needed a full-on reset. So, you know, I had to take me a little, vacay of sorts, a little mental break for a while. Missed y'all though. How y'all feeling? How y'all living? How are y'all doing out here? What up? What's going on? My guy Lake should be popping in at any second now. He is at the Scouting Combine, so hopefully he brings us some juicy nuggets from Indianapolis, because Lord knows that is the Gossip Olympics. This is the official start of the NFL season. I know the new league year starts in March with free agency and all that, but the Combine is where all the NFL brass executive chatty patties go to meet and they discuss business. Everything starts. You got agents there negotiating deals. You got players on the trade block. You got players being quietly shopped throughout the league. There's a little bit of everything going on at the Combine. So expect news galore. Washington got its first piece yesterday when it was announced that the team is giving Jonathan Allen the right to seek a trade elsewhere, which means that an amicable mutual parting of ways between the Washington Commanders and Jonathan Allen will be taking place sometime this off season. What is everyone's thoughts? Because I know a lot of the fans have soured on Jonathan Allen, but he has been he has been a part of the Redskins football team and the Commanders, and I feel like there's a feeling to him that feels like he's a Washington lifer, but it feels like it's definitely time to move on. What are y'all thoughts on it? Because here's where I stand on the matter. I feel like now that we've buried the lead and everyone knows that a parting of ways is to come, I feel like we're not getting anything. I feel like we're not getting anything of legit value for Jonathan Allen. So we're peaking at maybe a day 3 pick for Jonathan Allen. But what happens with most of these situations is the league says, you just told us y'all are moving on, so we might as well just wait till y'all cut him. Whether that's a regular release or June 1 designation, Washington saved $16 million getting Jonathan Allen off the books. How do y'all think this situation plays itself out? How do y'all think this situation plays itself out, man? Damn, it's been dry out here. It's been dry out here for real. I'm sorry, man. I apologize. I haven't looked at any content for real. I just needed some time, man. It's been really dry out here. They said the streets was fiending out. But back to Jonathan Allen, no. It feels like the right time to do it. I don't think we're getting anything more than, if we get something, a 5th round pick. If we get a 4th, Adam Peters is working. And this is not specifically about the skill of the player. It's a combination of things. He tore his titty last year. He missed most of the season last year. Production-wise, it's regressed over the last couple years, and he's not getting any younger. That in combination with, they know he has to go. So I don't see a team really coughing up any capital unless someone's trying to cut the line and not trying to wait to see him be a free agent. I don't think our door is getting knocked down. I think he's on his way to being cut. Am I wrong to believe so? Y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Let me know what y'all think. BJ said, "You think we're keeping him?" I don't think we're keeping him, man. I don't think so. I don't think so, man. I do not think I think there's a clear indicator he has played his last down in DC for sure. We should have traded him last offseason, but if you could trade him, recoup a 4th or 5th round pick. You get a 4th, we throwing parties out here. You get a 4th round pick, we throwing parties. And for those Madden players that think compensation is equivalent to that in real life, we are not getting a day 2 pick for Jonathan Allen. Day 2 is the 2nd and 3rd round of the draft. We're not getting either. It does not work like that. We're not getting a 2nd or 3rd round pick for Jonathan Allen, guys. I promise you. You got to wake up and step into reality with the rest of us. That is probably not going to happen. Trade our 1st round pick and Jonathan Allen for Myles Garrett and said, Andrew, my brother in Christ, Jonathan Allen in a 1st round pick is not getting the best defensive player in the league via trade. I don't know, guys. Jonathan Allen is a solid NFL player. Jonathan Allen is not good enough to attach with a 1st and say, give us Myles Garrett. You can't send St. Juice and Michael Davis in a trade because they are unrestricted free agents. They are free. They are on the waiver wire. They're in the soup kitchen right now. They're on the streets. They cannot be included in a trade. Y'all gotta. I don't even know if Madden is allowing y'all to do some of these trades that y'all be suggesting in the chat. What are we talking about, man? Teams will wait till he's released, but fingers crossed some team pumps in with a 3rd round. It would be great. That would be a historical victory for the squad. Welcome up, Hootie. Welcome to the family, Hootie. Welcome to the Rambler family. Y'all welcome him to the community of objective, ruthless, filterless Washington Commanders fans or whatever team you fan. Welcome to the community, man. We have fun here. It's time to ramp things up. The offseason's actually off-seasoning now. You're hearing rumors. Like, I know I've been gone for a couple weeks, but ain't shit really taking place. What's really happening? Like, there's not real rumors. It's just a bunch of aggregate Twitter pages trying to create news and trying to create engagement. There's not much to talk about, but I think my boy just pulled up, so we can get to it now. My guy.
Josh, real quick. I'm gonna do this, Bob. This back to DC.
What's going on, man?
What's up, man? You see who this is?
What's good with you, man?
What's going on, man?
How you doing?
We here. We at the compound, man.
Long time no see, Josh. How you feeling, man?
Love, brother. Love, blessed, and all the good things come along with it.
Hey, are you still sending good wishes to Burgundy and Gold Nation, man?
Hey, man, you already know. Hail to the Redskins.
Hey, J No in the building, man. Appreciate you, man. What up, Blake?
Always been that way for me, man.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go sit down and get on here. But hold man, good seeing you, brother.
Hey, we getting cameos. My man Lake getting active.
What's going on? All right. I got to do this pod real quick, but it's like an hour. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go find somewhere to sit down. All right.
Yo, we got a celebrity among us. Lake out here mixing, mingling, and politicking in them Indianapolis combine streets. What up, Lake?
What's up, man? What's going on, man? Just it's been a busy day, man. It really has, but it's all good, man. You know, feeling good about the things I heard from Coach Quinn, and then yesterday, Adam Peters. So, yeah, man, it's here. It's all here now. So we out here.
What's the buzz? It don't even got to be Washington specific. What's the buzz in Indianapolis right now? What is everyone talking about?
You know, it's funny because this year already, you know, I got here yesterday. I'll be here till Sunday, but it was the first time, man, where I had people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, you cover the Commanders, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Man, y'all had a hell of a year, man. I think y'all might be, you know, Philly's real threat." So it's almost like the vibe here is that people are they see Washington, man. They see them as a real thing, as a
Okay.
viable threat, and there's a lot of love. Like even for today with Coach Quinn, when we talked with him, when I turned around, it was probably like 60 like other national media people just standing behind us. So of course there's love, man.
Hey, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. We heard from Adam Peters yesterday. We heard from Dan Quinn today. What did you take away from their media scrum?
I literally took this thing they keep saying, Rio. They keep saying, man, like to be a commander, like literally. And I'm gonna go over here and sit down so that way this thing's not moving around here. Here we go. I'm good right here. Yep. They keep using the word like, what is it to be a commander? And so what they were saying today to us, especially was like, we it's how you get down. Those were the words that Dan Quinn kept using. Like it's not a word on the wall or how you act. He said it's literally how do you get down all the time? What are your habits? And Adam Peters yesterday was saying the same thing. It was almost like it was again the same message. It's no two people from the Commanders you talk to and you hear a different thing. It's the same message, almost like they've rehearsed the same paperwork.
Hey, they weren't lying when they said aligned vision. Everything about those guys, they've mastered the art of being very open and transparent with y'all while also saying nothing and not telling us what they're about to do. It's refreshing, man.
It is. It is, man. And yesterday, man, like seriously, bro. And I think somebody told me they actually got it on camera. And I was like, I need that. So after Adam Peters spoke, to at the main podium, for everybody, national media too, we went over to the side where it was like the local media, was speaking with him. And after he spoke, I had kind of walked away with the scout that I'm working with here. And so I was standing there with the scout. And when Adam walked away, Sean DeViera, the PR guy for the team,
PR
came over to me, dapped me up, hugged me. And then Adam, people were speaking to him. And then once he got through them, he came over to me and was like, "What's up, Blake, man? Good to see you. How you been?" I'm like, "I'm good." And he hugged me and kept it moving. And I turned and told some other media, this is what I mean by it's different here. Like the GM hugging you, dapping you up, man. I've never had nothing like that happen to me in 15 years in Washington. And guys saw you every day. They still wouldn't speak to you. But this group, man, they first thing Coach Quinn said when he saw us, he said, "Hey, man, good to see you guys." He said, and some of you other people, unfamiliar faces. He said, but for the familiar faces, he said, "Hey, what's going on?" It's a family, man.
They said grab Myles Garrett while you out there. I don't think Myles Garrett gonna be at the combine, y'all.
Nah, but I'm gonna tell you, like I told you, one of them tackles had to go. Did I not say that? And I'm just gonna say it right now. I can see John Allen in that 29th going to Cleveland. I see it happening.
It's gonna have to be a little bit more than that, but hey, I wouldn't be mad
I don't know,
at it.
man. I don't know. After talking to some folks, I think Cleveland looks at it like they'll be getting a Pro Bowl caliber tackle and they're getting a first round pick. And a lot of teams aren't going to give up a whole lot like that, for almost 30-year-old player. But for Washington, their window's Super Bowl right now. So we'll see. We'll see.
I think it would take a little bit more with Allen coming off a big injury last year and not as good as earlier in his career. But that would be fun. But are people talking about Myles Garrett out there, though?
Oh, sure, are they? And everyone like, so what I've heard out here. I heard somebody say, "Man, I hear some grumblings of Washington might be trying to get Myles Garrett and Max Crosby." And I was like, yeah. I did say that like 3 weeks ago. And one guy joked and he was like, "Yeah," he said, "You said that." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm telling you, man, do not be surprised if something like that happens." So today I spoke with kid Deion Walker from Kentucky. And he's 6'7", 140 pounds, man.
He's a big boy.
D tackle. Move. And
he's a dog.
Yeah, and I talked to him and I asked him about Washington, and he said he thinks he's going to be talking with them. And I said, what would it be like to play for, a team like Washington? And he said, man, he was like, it would be cool. He said, they did have my guy, Jamin Davis, on there at one point. And I was like, well, you ain't there now. But he said, yeah, man, like Jayden Daniels, stuff like that. So even the players don't look at Washington in regards like they used to, Rio, where,
Mm-hmm.
man, I ain't trying to go to Washington. Now sexy place to go to now because of the success they had this year and the fact that the way they do stuff. So I'm going to be talking to the kid Kyle Arrington tonight at 7. He's one of my boys. That's one of my boys, an agent. That's his client. So I'm meeting with him tonight for dinner, and we're going to talk. And but his name came up today, talking with Dan. So, just me, I'm putting together some of the pieces, some of the puzzle pieces. But clearly, they're going to attack the defense strong.
Oh yeah, and like Adam Peters said, we have no choice but to be aggressive because we have like 28 free agents. We have to field a roster, so they have to be. They're not allowed to not be aggressive because they don't have enough players to field a roster this season.
Absolutely, and Adam even alluded to it yesterday. They are going to be, aggressive to get this team better, to get them where they can be. And even today, Coach Quinn was talking about how they have a game plan for Jayden Daniels on things they want him to do to get better. And he said,
Mm-hmm.
even for him, he said, me as a coach, there's things in play for me to get better. He said, this for everybody in the organization. And by the way, the organization got a going review as far as the league when they talk about the workplace environment and stuff like that.
No, we're not an F- organization no more, Lake.
Absolutely, and Dan Quinn actually got the highest grade as a coach from the
Mm-hmm.
play. So that tells you right there. I still say Kevin O'Connell's my dude. I saw him yesterday, but Dan Quinn should have been coach of the year.
Yeah, we know the vibes. Yeah. It definitely should have been Dan Quinn. We go from last year being ranked 32 out of 32, F- as an organization. We're up to what, a B plus now. Our coach is top ranked with an A plus, unanimous across the board. Our owner top 5 with an A grade. Imagine hearing a Washington owner has an A grade from the Players Association.
Man, I'm telling you, and he was proud of it. But he said, it's not just me. He said it's my staff. It's all of us. He didn't even say my staff. He said our staff. He never said
Mm-hmm.
I ever. Those little word plays, sometimes people can misconstrue, but I know that these guys go out of their way to make sure it's we and our all the time. And again, it's just a refreshing feeling, man, to see adults here who recognize you as an adult to cover the team. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just good business going on here, man. But make no mistake about it, they're one of the star attractions. So
Hell yeah.
perspective, I literally was just like right before with Josh, seeing my boy, that was my guy. We chopped it up for like 30 minutes. But before that, I was with my friend Bobby and Big Dom for from the Eagles and
Mm-hmm.
talking about Washington. Like it's real, man. They know it's real.
Yeah. So, what is the name Jayden Daniel? What kind of bells is he ringing around those NFL community right now?
I mean, just excitement. Was talking with some guys today about the quarterbacks in this year's draft, some scouts, and I was just saying it's pretty much like 3 guys in this draft that Jackson Dart, obviously Shador Sanders, and Cam Ward that are really worth anything. Like this might be one of the weaker quarterback classes in a long time, compared to last year's, which could go on record, and possibly be
Mm-hmm.
greatest of all time if these guys play the way they've been playing as rookies. So
Mm-hmm.
so we were just talking about how with all these guys this year, what they need to do to be successful and have some success. And they were like, it might take them a couple years, to figure it out. So it may be some growing pains the first year or two. And I said, yeah, Washington again. You realize how lucky they got in their pick. The work was put in, the preparation was put in to go out and get Jayden, but to be able to get a guy that wants to be great, not just good, and he puts in even more work to be better. And you never had training wheels on him at any point this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, you have to be lucky to luck into these type of players. And Washington was due this luck for 30 years and got it.
Sure did, man. So, what is a day like at the combine? I'm assuming you're out there for the week. What is a day like for media at the combine? Walk me through your day to day out there.
Depends on what it depends on. So, and I say this respectfully, it depends on what type of media you are. So
Mm.
everything, and and everybody doesn't, So, but for even like, for me, I would say today it was to come in and talk to Deion Walker, talk to a couple of other players, be it Dan Quinn's presser, Lance Newmark speaks at 3:30. I'm going to be there for that,
Okay.
and come on the pod with you, of course.
My guy.
Another pod from someone here that wants me to come on here in Indy, and then after that, it's pretty you're pretty much free from like work activities, but then they have like 2-3 things this evening that are like networking type events if you want to go. And I used to do all those things when I was younger, but now I'm just more or less like, if I can go back to the condo, got a condo here, that I stay at, and I'm by myself, so I'm gonna just get back there and relax. But the point is that it varies. So like for tomorrow though, Rio, it's gonna be this is where it gets real, because the irony is most of our local media is leaving today. They all have
Mm.
right now, but myself, Candy, Waller, we'll be here. We'll be here all week. I'll be here till Sunday. I'll be here to the last event because I was invited to cover every event in the stadium as far as every drill position.
Workout. Yep.
Linemen, offensive linemen are on Sunday. So to me, that's important to stay and see that, because Washington's in the market for offensive linemen. They're in the market for defensive linemen too. So, for me, it's going to be sun up and sun down at Lucas Oil Stadium over the next 4 days, starting tomorrow.
Oh man, that sounds like a lit week, man. I've heard it's like the Chatty Patty Olympics at the combine. It kind of sets up everything for the new league year as far as getting contracts worked out, trades, all of that good stuff. And I've heard so much about the shrimp cocktail at St. Elmo's. Is it really like that, or is that something that's hype?
Oh, nah, listen. So for me, my first couple of years, I used to live in St. Elmo's. I mean, the steak and all that stuff is real.
Mhm.
It's so much steak, I would leave steak there. Like we take food home. You know what I'm saying? But there, but yeah, the shrimp, all that stuff, it's fire. It's one of the best restaurants I've ever been to ever, and it just so happens to be here in Indy. But if you've never experienced it, I recommend it. But once you've been there, done that, man, you'd be so tired when you leave this place, man. You just try to get back to your spot and crash. I didn't get
Mhm.
night till almost what 12:30. So
Okay.
we're laughing, and people were like, "It's still early. We going out now." And I'm like, "Y'all go out and have some fun,
y'all go ahead and have fun, man.
baby. Tell her what's up, and I'm going to bed."
They said Lake was out here doggy bagging food. That's what we do, man. That's what our people do. We going home with something, right? Like,
Look, I got a kitchen in the place I'm staying at, man. I went to Kroger's. It was a Kroger's, man. Went grocery shopping, man. After last night, I was like, man, I ain't spending $100 a night on no food. No, you crazy? No, man.
hey, work smarter, not harder, man. I know exactly what you mean. Hey, whenever they release the running backs out there, I need you to find the running backs and get some conversation. My chat spamming me. They want to hear from Travion Henderson. I want to hear from Hampton, Genty, all those guys, because we need one of those, man.
So that's one of my assignments while I'm here is actually talking with Travion, and that's my guy. That's a guy that I legitimately know that they're looking at, and if he's available, don't be surprised. And he's a home run threat. He's also something people don't realize about him. He's probably one of the best backs, if not the best back in this draft, as far as picking up blocking back as well, picking up blitzes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Important in their offense, but he's a guy that will run you over or run by you. Track speed, guy that was from down in the Richmond area, ironically, from down that way. CBS, which I'm here with CBS and ABC. That's one of the assignments they wanted me to get. So I'm gonna get him, and I'm gonna find out, does he want to be in Washington, because it's in play.
Yeah, tell them we got a need for it. And when I say that, there's a part of the fan base that every time you want to upgrade a position, you're just diminishing, you gave up on, and you're hating on the player currently there. We all like Brian Robinson and think he's a good football player, but I think he would be best utilized as a complementary back with an all-world dynamic type guy ahead of him, correct?
Absolutely. That's coming from other scouts that I talked to, other media folks from other teams. They said the same thing. They like Brian Robinson. No one's taking anything away from him, but they just naturally think that he's better suited to be a complimentary back. He's not the home run featured back for this offense. And I think this type of offense needs that, Jahmyr Gibbs type slasher that can, hit the crease, hit the gaps, and take it to the house. It would just make this offense that much more electrifying. And a guy like Travion Henderson is that type of player, I think, who his best days are ahead of him.
I think I wouldn't be mad if we double dip like my boy just suggested. I don't know if we can get Hampton and Henderson because those are two of the top 3 backs in the class, but I wouldn't be mad if we get a back early and we get a back later on day 3 because we could use a couple of them. Brian Robinson got 1 more year left on his deal. Eckler has 1 more year left on his deal. We need to get younger at running back.
Oh, I'll say this. If they walked away with both those guys, he would be gone this year.
Yep. Out of here.
Yep. He would
out of here.
Absolutely. And I don't see that happening, but
me neither.
You just never know. And I just know nothing's off the table. Everything is out there. Someone asked me, like, who am I taking at 29? And I'm like,
we don't know. Exactly.
Yeah, the best player on the board that's sitting there. But if there's somebody you really, really like and they're there at 25, 26, then you make a call and see if you can move up. You got to do what you have to do to close this gap against the Eagles, because I think the consensus here from everyone that I've spoken to is that Washington's the legit threat this year in the NFC to the Eagles. And I'm not making this up. That's the consensus. Because of what people saw 3 times. They saw a team that did not back down from the Eagles, that competed, beat them 1 game, and in that NFC Championship game, said if you don't turn the football over, I'm not saying they win that game, but it's not the 55-point blowout, and I think people see that. So I think Washington and their brain trust, not that I know for a fact, they know that the window is right here, right now, and you don't want to give Philly that kind of confidence to feel like they're invincible. You know what I mean? So you got to close the window.
Man, have you heard anything about Washington being connected to the Cooper Kupp or Deebo Samuel's trade market or in general?
I didn't actually. Well with Deebo, yes, because I spoke to a guy today that covers the 49ers. He was actually with me all morning, and he was just saying that, he literally said this. He said Washington doesn't even need to trade for Deebo Samuel. He said because the 49ers are going to release him. Those were his exact words. He was like, yeah, they're cutting him. He said, so Washington can just pick him up. If that's the case, then you absolutely do that, because you don't have to give up anything to get him, and he makes your wide receiver room better because it'd be more versatile. And then you still can go out free agency, sign a receiver, and then draft one as well. So they're going to make sure that skill set room, running back and wide receiver, is much upgraded because they have an elite quarterback, and they don't want this guy having to play Superman every day.
What's the interest level from teams around the league since Jonathan Allen is reportedly available?
Well, it's early because it just came out yesterday, and told us yesterday that he said there's a chance that he could even come back to Washington. He said, nothing's off the table. It's all out there. Naturally, that's Adam saying what he's supposed to say. Not going to be back in Washington. So I do think that there's some value there, but I think he's a player that's going to have to go to a team like, a team that's a playoff caliber football team. He's not going to a rebuild or anything like that. And I know in saying that may make people think, well, you just said Cleveland has a chance, but I don't think Cleveland feels like they're going to be in a full rebuild. I think they felt like they were a quarterback away. They were a playoff team 3 years ago. So they felt like they were just quarterback play away from being competitive again. So that's why I think it could make some sense for John Allen to be able to be traded with that first-round draft pick.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Marty Hurney stepped down. Martin Mayhew retired. So officially, that entire personnel that was here with Ron, that was hand selected by Ron Rivera, is now out of the building. I guess we can really finally say it's a complete overhaul of the front office and everything.
It absolutely is, Rio. It's I'm pretty confident that Lance Newmark just goes into the role and expands on what he's already doing. And again, this is their group. This is the new regime. And Martin Mayhew, no offense to him, great former Redskin, won a Super Bowl there, and was on the '91 Super Bowl team. But at the end of the day, it's pretty apparent that this is almost a purging of anything that was remnants of before. And what was before was consistent losing, was acceptable losing. And that's not this group now. This group now is that we talked about how far the bar's been raised from last year. Like, you started your first year in the NFC Championship. My God, it's got to be Super Bowl or bust. Well, you know what it is, and that's what they want. They want that every year, though. So it's not anything to run from. They embrace the challenge, and they embrace being looked at as a top 5, top 6 team power ranking wise right now, before any offseason additions have been made. That's how they're viewed now.
Hell yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I feel like a lot of our fans are nervous and are kind of afraid that we have expectations now. What do you say to those?
It's funny you say that, man, because today Chick Hernandez, that's, my guy, we were talking to a Tennessee Titans media guy about just how we're treated now in the media, and how the team showing us love and things like that. And we were talking about how the expectations are there because of Jayden, because of Dan Quinn, because of Adam Peters, because of a lot of guys. And so it was funny because Chick was like, yeah, man, we expect, and I said, yeah, we're going to be a player for the next 10 years. And he was like, yeah, we are. He said, unless, and I said, don't do it.
No, man.
I said, that's still the PTSD the fan base has. It's like they know they're good. They know what they saw last year, and they should be better with the full off season of having been able to assess the player, evaluation. But there's still that thing in the back of your mind that, somebody's going to come and kidnap Jayden or something like that. It's not going to happen, folks. Like, this thing is set up for success. It's set up for longevity. So just embrace it, man. Finally feel good that you got a team you can cheer for, and it makes sense. It matters.
Yep, I see so many people praying on Jayden Daniels' downfall. You can tell we got one of those ones, because everybody in the world, they're wishing a sophomore slump. Oh, he's going to be like Stroud and regress. Like, Stroud won another playoff game and almost beat the Chiefs in his second year, despite losing 2 of his starting receivers. Like, I'm laughing at all of those comments.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just something you have to deal with. It's expectations, and it's the young folks who they've never witnessed, even yourself, you never witnessed what you saw this year, and you definitely didn't witness it 2 straight years of sustained success at this kind of clip. So it's just something you have to get used to, because it's coming, man. It's here. It's not going away, and they just have too many competitors, man. They got too many people that look at analytics and look at technology. Dan Quinn talked about technology today. Just always getting better, always finding new wrinkles and things to make you uncomfortable to be better, and that's what they're doing.
What position group do you think Washington is paying the most attention to at the Combine this week?
Oh, they're paying. I don't think it's a question. It's the defensive line. They're literally about what they saw with the Eagles, So the Eagles, the way they just totally dismantled Kansas City. It's funny, man. That's what Josh and me were talking about. Josh Norman, we were talking about that. And by the way, I hope you don't mind that I pulled them on.
Oh no, that's cool. Like, I was wondering, I was like, yo, is that Josh Norman? That was a dope cameo. Please bring cameos anytime, like.
Oh yeah, no, that's fam, man. So I just, we were talking. I say, man, I got to do this pod. I got to go, bro. I said, but I tell you what, before I go, just pop your head in there and say what's up to the folks, because this is a commander show, you know. He was like, okay. So he said, you don't mind? I said, nah, hell no, let's go. So, but nah, I just think the overall vibe of the team is they got to get better in the trenches, man. You know, because they saw what the Eagles did. They saw not just what they did to them, they saw what they did to everybody. They
Everyone.
just play by play peeled the layers off of you and stripped you bare. And what they did to Kansas City was criminal. Like, I thought at the end of that buzzer, I thought, you know, there should have been 22 Eagles defensive players arrested and walked off the field for what Chiefs, you know. So Washington sees that, though. All jokes aside, they see the physicality of their defense, and they see that they're young too. So they're not going anywhere. They're only going to get better. Their best football hasn't even been played yet. So I think that they feel like, look, why not us? Why not get our side of the defense there? And we knew that the defense was behind the offense.
For sure.
Kingsbury got his ace and took that offense to a new level. And they're going to get better as well. But I think on the defensive side of the ball, they want to beat up teams, man. They do. They want to put you out your misery before Jayden even gets to you, and that's what the Eagles do. So I think that the defensive line is literally what they've been focused on, and they've already met with some guys. They're meeting with more. So yeah, I'll find out more by tomorrow who's meeting today with them, and we'll be able to talk about that as well.
Sounds good. My guy Derek said, ask Lake about when he was so excited about Jayden early on, but he had to hold it in. You know, Lake was trying to give us signs early on, like this ain't nothing like we've seen here. And he didn't want to go too much into it. I remember that during the summertime. Do you?
Yeah, man. And, you know, people were calling me crazy, man. Like, you know, you hyping it up, man. You selling Kool-Aid. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to sell you guys a generational talent that my eyes have never seen wearing burgundy and gold. And everybody saw that. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and take credit for anything like that. That was all that young man's effort. But I just know I saw something special. And it's the same thing I saw with Terry. I got the receipts to prove it. I got the tweet from Terry's first training camp. And I said, listen, number 17 out here, rookie number 17, McLaurin, is making plays and nobody can cover him, period. Yep. I said he was a combination of Deshaun and Pierre, you know, so I'm expecting big things from him, and we see what's happened since. So you look, man, when you've been covering this stuff as long as I have, you're going to miss some, you're going to hit some. I like to think I hit most of them. But when you see a generational talent, it's not hard. Anybody can see that. You don't have to be a guru or anything to know this stuff. I knew what I saw with Jayden was special, man, and now everybody else knows it as well. And don't think that he's going to be having this sophomore slump that now people keep bringing up. Nah, man, this guy doesn't want to just be good. He wants to be the face of the league from his play. That's who he is.
Yep. And the league is setting him up, positioning and propping him up for it. They want him to be that. And he's already talked in the likes of guys that have accomplished so much in this league already in 1 year of football. My boy Randy said, what are your honest opinions on re-signing Dyami Brown at a relatively cheap contract? Do you think Dyami comes back?
There's a chance. And I know Adam said yesterday that they're going to let guys test the market. You know, he said some guys want to test the market, some guys don't. Some guys want to be signed immediately. But I think for this team, they're going to see what other teams see as far as a value, and it may not be what some of these guys who test the market think it is. And then if that's the case, then that's smart business for Washington, because they don't have to break the bank to re-sign someone.
I think there's a chance, but I think you let him go cast his net and see what he can get. Go see what it's like out there. Go test the waters.
Yeah. Now, if you asking me, Rio, or the fan that asked the question, to give you a percentage that he's back next year, it's less than 50% for sure.
Ooh, less than 50%. We have some decisions that we have to make, because we got like 28 impending free agents, and I don't see the point in running it back with everybody. Some guys, there's going to have to be some tough decision. You're going to have to let some guys walk and free them to greener pastures that you might want to bring a part of this thing, because they were part of the fabric of what we built last year. Who's a player that most people would expect us to bring back that you could see us letting walk?
Dante Fowler.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
one, because the thing is if you go out and you spend money in draft capital for Myles Garrett, I know they like Dorrance Armstrong quite a bit, and Dorrance is young, so you're not going to get rid of a 26, 27-year-old, for a guy that's 30 plus. You're just not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get, and I don't mean Myles Garrett, I mean like the 30 plus guy would be Dante. So my thing is, I think that you have to, ask the question, because look, he played himself into getting a bag. He did, and
Yep.
there's always teams that needs edge rushers,
Mm-hmm.
and Washington you might think is one, of course, but if you go out and you get yourself a generational edge rusher like a Myles Garrett, I think Dorrance Armstrong might naturally be on the other side, or one of these guys here at the combines that they draft could be one of the guys that they have too.
I think if you would have to make a tough call between like a Chin or a Fowler, Fowler's the guy you let go because he's a liability against the run. He is a pass rush specialist that is best used only on passing down. You'd want a more complete guy. And let's say you do make the trade for a guy like Myles Garrett. You can't trade for Myles Garrett, give Dante Fowler a bunch of money while you're also paying Dorrance Armstrong $15 million a year. I would imagine the plan would be to draft a guy as well as trading for Myles Garrett if that was the course of action.
Absolutely, man. And, again, it's just like, and I said that Dorrance Armstrong's a guy that's he's not the best run stopper, but he's okay, so he's not as bad. And I think that, in that kind of situation, you just go younger. You go younger, you go a guy that's already under contract for another year. So he is someone you don't have to think about right now. He's playing on a prove it to me deal again, but he has history with them as well, from his time in Dallas with Joe Witt Jr., the defensive coordinator, and Dan Quinn. But again, I think if you can go younger, you don't want to go old or across the whole line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're getting rid of a John Allen more than likely, who's getting up there in age. I think this would have been his 9th year had he come back for Washington. So a 30-year-old player. And you're talking about, a potential Myles Garrett type of player who's over 30. So yeah, man, it changes things.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate you, my guy Ben. He said, I think we keep Allen if we don't trade him. So for the keep Allen crowd, when you keep Allen in Payne making all that money, you spent the 2nd round pick on Johnny Newton, and you still have problems in the run game. Wouldn't it feel like overkill to keep adding to that room, but you need something new there?
Yeah, it's not going to be overkill at all. I mean, you gotta think. You gotta think. And we got a lot of people just come out right now out this room, so I apologize about all that.
No, you good. You good.
But yeah, no, it's I think what they saw with Philly was just the depth. Look, you had a guy like Huff, who was their top free agent signing. He was inactive in the Super Bowl.
He did nothing.
That's what I'm saying. So when you have that kind of depth, and you have guys that can play and give you, minutes, you can never have enough. And I think that that's just what the Eagles do. And it's a blueprint now that I think teams like Washington are getting ready to start duplicating, because, you saw, the fact that they were a team that at one point was thinking about the Eagles as well. So, yeah, man, it's a real thing.
Do you think there's any chance they decide to go younger at linebacker and don't bring back Wags?
Yes, there is a possibility that could
Ooh.
happen. And I'm sorry I had to get up. Like, people say I'm doing this, but
It's a crowd. It's a crowd.
You know how it goes. They see you doing it, but yet they still want to stand next to you and look and talk. Yeah, but this is the thing. I'm gonna tell you right now that the play is, you got to be careful with the Raiders. They're coming hard for Bobby.
Oh, Pete Carroll. I seen him hit that, and he said, "Hey, Bobby is a free agent."
Listen, when I tell you that they're making a move for him, they're making a move for him, and with Bobby, you just hope that his affection for Jayden and Frankie and him are cool. He's got history with Dan as well. So you just hope that he sees that the window to win big is in Washington and not in Vegas. But I know Pete Carroll's coming after him for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. What's J-No doing out there? Is he part of the people that help the on-field drills and stuff, or is he working with a team? Josh Norman, what's he doing out there?
All right, I'll say it. I mean, that's my dude, man. He don't matter. Josh playing next year.
He's playing. He's coming back to play football next year.
Yeah, he's trying to play in the league next year.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering if he was part of the guys on the field and stuff. So he's trying to play next year.
Nah, I was like, man, you trying to take my job, man? He's like, nah, man. So he said, no, I'm playing. So I was like, okay. So there's a couple teams he'll be talking to tonight, and but he wants to get back out there and play. And I told him, I said, make sure you reach out to Adam, and you reach out to Dan, because this team needs a corner. So I mean, hell, I put it in the air. It's better than what they had at the other side if you move Mikey underneath in the slot. So I'm not sure they're doing that, but the point is he wants to play, and there is another team up north that has reached out. So yeah.
Okay. Speaking of corner, I could see, because someone asked me earlier, do you see Washington making a priority free agent signing during the tampering period of free agency? I can see us signing a corner early. Like, I can see Charvarius Ward or someone like that being a very early signing, and the Peters connection is there.
I think it's a 75% chance that he signs with Washington. And I've actually, I was talking, like I said earlier, to one of the 49ers guys, and he said he actually thinks Charvarius ends up in Washington, and he thinks it would be a really nice fit for him and Lattimore to be on your side, on your edges, and then you move Mikey underneath. He said he really could see that happening, and that relationship with Adam Peters is real. That he could see a couple Niners, and obviously he mentioned Debo as well, because Debo, he said, will just be cut so they can sign him.
Yeah, I think Debo and Cooper Kupp ultimately get released, and that's when I would be interested in one of them. I don't want to trade any assets for either of those two players, but when they're on the open market, you could talk me into a Cooper Kupp, or I think I'm prioritizing Cooper over Debo in that situation. Would you have a preference of the two?
Oh, I would preference Cooper as well. I'm not so sure how Debo fits. Just from a true number two, but I think where he does fit in and gives them more of a Swiss Army knife, a guy that can do multiple things, and you can move him around, you can put him in the backfield as well. And you just have to be motivated to make sure that he wants to win a Super Bowl with Washington. But I do think that Adam Peters, man, and Adam we trust. I just think that he knows the right buttons to push. He knows who's who, and at the end of the day, he just wants guys, as Dan Quinn even said today himself, again, the same universal message. They want guys that just want to play ball. That's all they think. They just think ball. That's what they want to do.
What does a Terry McLaurin extension looks like? Because after the season he just had, I would imagine they would need to go to the negotiation table. All right, my guy, let's get you up to $30 million a year or something like that. Is that about the range we're talking about?
Yeah, and I think that's going to get done before the season starts. But it won't be, it won't be while we're here or anything like that. It won't even be during draft time. Those things like that happen, in June. And go back to Sam Cosmi last year. He signed his contract extension the first day of training camp. So that's the time frame we're probably looking at. But I do expect for Terry to get extended. I really do. I'd be surprised if that didn't happen before training camp started.
I don't think there's anybody franchisable, but the franchise tag deadline is coming up in about in the next week or so. There's nobody Washington would consider franchising, right?
Nah, man. I
don't see it.
I mean, there's some surprise players you could do that to, but the thing is that a lot of these guys aren't under contract, so you can't do it. I don't foresee it happening, because I don't think there's anyone out there that you risk losing that you can't upgrade. and that's the difference. Like in years past, you almost had to franchise your one or two players that people were paying tickets to come see. Well, your best players under a rookie contract, which is
Yep.
helping you be able to maneuver and do other things. So no, yeah, man, I like the answer there, Tag Cliff. No, I just don't. I don't see it. If there was a guy that you could throw it on, it could be a Jeremy Chin. But I don't see it happening.
I don't see that being that. The franchise tag is a funny thing too, and I know yesterday the Bengals GM came out and spoke a lot about trying to get a deal done and a long-term deal with T. Higgins, and he immediately got on Twitter and posted a cap. And you know how that's going. He seems like he wants to test the open market, and they seem like they're trying to prohibit him from doing so. How do you see the T. Higgins situation playing out?
Man, I see him ultimately being a Cincinnati Bengal. Mm-hmm. But if he is to move, I think the two teams that you clearly have to keep your eye on would be the New England Patriots, because they need a weapon for Drake May. But I think the other one falls into how the draft goes. So I think you might have to wait until then, because this is the thing. What were to happen if, let's say, the Raiders but drafted Shador? I was just with his agent. His agent was my agent, Dion's agent. I was just with her last night, and we were talking about that. They really like the Raiders. I think that's the ideal spot. Or the Giants, but I think the Raiders are the real team in play. So yep. I always pose this: what happens if you get Shador? If you're the Raiders, you have a generational tight end there already. Had a great rookie campaign, so you got a tight end, but you don't have a receiver. So maybe T. Higgins to the Raiders could be something in play, and then I think that would be good. But for all the fans in Washington talking T. Higgins, I just think that's too much. I think you would be paying a little too much for that kind of production.
Yeah, and I think his market's going to be robust if he hits unrestricted free agency. I think the Bengals are not trying to have that happen, because I know Joe Burrow does not want to start over, because he's like, the offense all we got for real. That and Hendrickson, that's all they got over there.
Yeah, no, you can't, man. You can't break up that duo. And you had Tyler Boyd at one point too when he was there. So. You don't want to break that up, and I think for the most part that they know that they're still a player in this thing. I think Cincinnati felt like if they had made the playoffs last year, they could have done some damage. So we all know it's top heavy in the AFC. That excuse me, that you have Kansas City, and people keep thinking their demise is they're done, and nah, man, they lost to Tampa, and then they came back and won the Super Bowl the next year, so they're not done. Buffalo might be a receiver away. I keep saying maybe T. Higgins to Buffalo might make some sense. Maybe T. Higgins to Baltimore could make some sense. So all those teams are there, that are going to be in the running. So yeah, man, I think if you're Cincinnati, you get that thing done and you keep him.
Oh yeah, they're definitely probably going to keep him. Free agency is going to be interesting. We're like 2 weeks away now. We're like 2 weeks away from the start of the tampering period, where we can really start seeing players move. Washington has no choice but to be aggressive. We do not have enough players to field the off-season program. So just like last year, it's going to feel like Christmas every day. It may not be we're shopping for every top name that fans recognize on the board. I keep trying to tell them they need to just let Adam Peters cook, because it ain't about to be we just shopping for a bunch of caviar on the market.
Nah, it's not going to be like days of old where it was like free agency bonanza and fantasy football bonanza. It's not going to be like that. They're going to be smart. Last year proved it, that they're not, necessarily going to go out and make big name splashes just to make them. They're going to sell tickets this year regardless, so they don't need to trick people into getting an overpriced has-been and push them all through the marketing guys like they used to do. They don't need to do that. The fact is that they have a generational talent who's going to be in his second year. who's 23 years old and is going to be around for a long time. That's the ticket that you're selling. But what you're also selling to fans is that you're going to be competitive year in and year out to make sure that you get to the ultimate goal, and it's to win a Lombardi Trophy. And I know for a fact they feel like, why not them? Why not Washington slay the beast, which is the Eagles? And I feel like they feel like because of their familiarity, they have the best chance to do it. And then also, I'd like to throw out this little caveat: 23 straight years, there's been a different division winner in that division. The Eagles won it last year, so that's kind of like telling you somebody else has to win it, and it damn sure ain't going to be the New York Giants and Dallas Cowboys. So who's the other team? It's Washington. And I've said it, and I've said it again. They are going to play again this year for the NFC Championship. I see a sequel to it this year, and depending on who wins the division, might tell you who's going to win it.
Well, you got a specific player you got your eye on this weekend when these workouts happen at the combine this week?
Well, I did. I want to see Kobe Bryant. The corner from Kansas. He a lot of people like him, and he's got some really good intangibles. So looking forward to watching him. Obviously I mentioned Deion Walker earlier. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how he performs, because a man that size, at 6'7", 340 pounds. I mean, he did tell me today he's down to 329, and he wants to get down to 325.
We need a big space eater, man.
Yeah, and that's what he is. But he can move. He can move laterally as well. So, I'm looking forward to seeing him, and Kyle Arrington, of course. Who I'm speaking with later tonight. I want to see how he performs as well. Even talked with Dan Quinn about leadership, and things like that down in South Carolina. And Dan Quinn said he learned a lot, as far as South Carolina's setup and stuff through him. So he's a name that we brought up that he threw out, and myself and Monty Donna Hopkins, she and I, we're gonna be the only media to interview this kid. So we're gonna see what he has to say.
Yeah, I like them. I like a couple of them Carolina kids, Kennard, and I think they got that safety corner hybrid player, Imawari. He's a dog.
So actually, I'm meeting with Kennard tonight as well. So I'll definitely get thoughts on him. But I like him as well. That's so Kennard is Bobby McCray's one of his clients.
You told me you know him.
Yeah. So we're gonna meet with these guys and just see. I just want to see what their thoughts are, possibly, having a chance to play for Washington with a guy like Jayden Daniels. Because let's face it, they played against them in the SEC, but young guys want to go where the buzz is. They want to go where their name's going to be in lights, and they have a chance in their rookie campaign to play multiple primetime games. And you got to think, man, if you're a rookie and you play for Washington next year, you're going to be playing against Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. You're going to be playing against Jalen Hurts. I mean, you're going to have an opportunity to put your name in lights early in your career, so why not Washington?
I think the player that absolutely lights up the combine is Tez Johnson from Oregon, the little jitterbug receiver from Oregon. He's so good.
I like him quite a bit, but I think Washington needs a little bit. They need some size, man, from their receiving core. They've got a lot of guys now that are like in that fringe frame of 5'10" to 6 feet. But they need like a 6'3" guy. They need a heavyweight to come over the middle and do some things, because Terry's getting up there, man. He'll be 30 years old. You don't want to have to 29, excuse me. But the way he plays so physical and so violent. You don't want him to have to keep doing that all the time. You need another guy. Noah Brown, I keep saying this, performed well before he hurt his kidney. And he's a guy that they brought in during the season. But if he's a guy that you can re-sign, for the cheap and have him go through a full offseason, I think he's a guy that can be a depth wide receiver. And he's a guy that made tough catches last year. And he is a physical receiver. So he could be kind of a possession guy. But I still think that you hit free agency and the draft and look forward to some more receivers.
Oh, yeah, you double dip. You sign some guys and you draft some guys. And we do need size, but don't be just picking up size just for size. There are a lot of tall guys that don't use all their size correctly. And a lot of it got to be a guy that's big, but that can get busy, create separation, and create 50-50 opportunities for the quarterback.
Well, this is the name that I keep throwing out there, man. Like, and I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna talk to some Seattle folks. I'm gonna try to get to some of them, if not today, tomorrow, and just see what they think about DK. To watch. Because I do think DK Metcalf is a guy that you kind of forget about him in Seattle now, and they've had different quarterbacks and just different things happening. He had different coaches, but he's a guy that could have that kind of rebirth, kind of like an AJ Brown. When AJ Brown was in Tennessee, people were starting to forget about him. They really were. And then he goes to Philadelphia, and then you see just what kind of specimen he is. Well, that's DK Metcalf. So DK could be Washington's A.J. Brown, and I think he would be a perfect complement, a good dude, would fit the locker room culture, but would give you that physical play.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, complement. So I think that's a name to keep in mind, too.
I would love that, man. I'm going to let you go after this one because I know you got to go. I think Lance Newmark is about to speak to the media in a little bit. Washington has a couple opportunities to go international next year. I believe either Spain or Brazil versus the Dolphins or the Chargers. You think we get one or two of those?
I'm starting to think we do. Actually had my baby told me the other day, get your passport ready. And I said, yeah. So then a couple of people actually last night at dinner were talking about we got to make sure our passports are squared away because we think there's a chance. I think the Spain thing might be in play, man.
Ooh, give me Spain. I don't want to go to Brazil. Give me Spain, man. Send us what.
And I know Philly was in Brazil last year, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. And people are like, "Oh, Washington could do the same thing." But I think Spain might be in play. I really do.
I tell you, send Jayden and company to Spain, man. That sounds like an awesome time, man. Get them passports ready, Washington Commanders Nation, and bring your checkbook, man. I took my kids to get their passports yesterday, and that joint ran over $400. Inflation is hitting everything at this point. Lake, appreciate you as always for blessing the program, especially with boots on the ground at the Indianapolis NFL Combine. Appreciate you as always, man.
Oh, so it's been fun, man. Sorry, the camera angles and all that.
You are good, man.
But yeah, man, just we here, man. We trying to get it in. So I'll have some more stuff for you over the next couple of days. But it's exciting times, man. If you're a Commanders fan, you should feel excited because they're here, man, and they're trying to get this thing done to get a Super Bowl to DC.
Yep, they trying to do it, man. Appreciate you as always. Let folks know where they can find you, Lake.
Oh, cool. You can check me out on social media at Lake Lewis Jr. You can follow my podcast, the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Just posted one from yesterday with here. I had a scout on with me breaking down some players. So it's up now. It's the Lake Lewis Jr. Show on YouTube. You can check that out. And then, of course, I'll have some updates for CBS, but that's going to be in Richmond. And then, of course, ABC in DC.
All right. Thank you, my brother. And thank you for tuning in, guys. We've had a good amount of people rocking with your boy. We're back from hiatus, from vacation, and all those good things. Make sure y'all sub up and follow my guy. That's all I got for right now. Hail to the Washington Commanders, and let's get active.